Picture this. It is January of 2026, and in a conference room in Belgium, a group of safety engineers just announced something no car company on Earth wanted to hear. Euro NCAP, the organization behind the 5-star safety rating that every automaker brags about in every single commercial, confirmed that starting this year, any new car that buries its hazard lights, its horn, its wipers, or its emergency call function inside a touchscreen menu will be penalized on the most respected crash safety test in the world. Their own research is blunt. Look away from the road for 2 seconds to poke at a screen, and you double your risk of a crash. Distraction-related collisions across Europe are up nearly 20% since 2020. The exact same year's automakers ripped every button off the dashboard and buried it behind glass. Under the new rules, 5 specific functions have to get a real, physical switch that you can find and feel with a gloved hand, without ever looking down. Turn signals, hazard lights, the horn, the wipers, and the emergency call button. 5 things that used to be automatic muscle memory in every car ever built, now written into a European safety regulation because an entire generation of designers forgot drivers need to keep their eyes on the road. Tesla, Volkswagen, Volvo, Peugeot, they all built cockpits that looked like a tablet bolted to a steering column. And now the people who grade crash safety for a living are saying, politely but firmly, give us back our knobs. Nobody is forcing American automakers to follow that same rulebook, not yet anyway. But something interesting is happening here regardless. A specific slice of the car-buying public, people who learn to drive with a clutch pedal under their left foot, who can parallel park without a camera doing it for them, who remember when cruise control was the single most advanced feature in the whole car, they have officially had enough. They do not want a car that reboots. They do not want to swipe through 3 menus to turn on a seat heater at 70 miles an hour in a snowstorm. They want a proper knob, a real gear lever, steering that actually talks back to them through the road surface, and an engine that makes a noise a machine makes, not a noise a video game makes. And in 2026, against nearly every prediction from every trend forecaster in this industry, a handful of brand new cars just rolled off American assembly lines built exactly for that person. Today, we are counting down 8 of them. Real, current production cars, sitting on dealer lots right now with sticker prices and VIN numbers. Not concept cars, not rumors, not something coming in 3 years. Before we dive in, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button, because we track every single one of these old school holdouts as the rest of the industry tries to phase them out. And trust me, you're going to want to see what lands at number 1, because it might be the single most rebellious car built in Detroit this entire decade. Let's kick things off at number 8, with a machine most people assume is nothing but a rolling tablet on wheels, and honestly, part of it kind of is, except for the part that actually moves it. The 2026 GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate is a full-size, 3-row luxury SUV, and yes, it comes loaded with giant screens and GMC's own hands-free highway driving system called Super Cruise. But underneath all of that modern gloss sits a 6.2-liter Ecotec 3V8, a genuine naturally aspirated pushrod engine making 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque, sent through a 10-speed automatic transmission and into a real, physical 2-speed transfer case for 4-wheel drive, not a menu toggle, an actual mechanical dial you twist with your own hand. Add adaptive air ride suspension, an electronic limited slip differential, and a genuine 3-row cabin that seats up to 8 real human beings, and you get a family hauler that still asks you to physically twist a dial when the road turns to gravel or snow. Starting at just under $104,000, the Denali Ultimate proves that even in the most tech-loaded vehicle GMC builds, the beating heart underneath is still an old-fashioned American V8, built on architecture General Motors has been refining since the 1950s. Climbing to number 7, we land in a segment that is disappearing almost everywhere except Cadillac showrooms, the midsize, rear-wheel drive American sedan. The 2026 Cadillac CT5 starts life with a 2.0-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder making 237 horsepower, but the version enthusiasts actually want is the premium luxury trim with the optional 3.0-liter twin-turbo V6, good for 335 horsepower and 405 pound-feet of torque, sent through a 10-speed automatic to the rear wheels. The way proper sports sedans have worked for generations. Pricing starts at $48,600, and Cadillac's own testing puts that V6 sedan at 0 to 60 in about 5.5 seconds. While half the industry races to delete every button in the name of minimalism, Cadillac kept real, physical climate controls inside the CT5 cabin, because somebody in Detroit apparently remembered that sometimes you just want to turn a knob without unlocking your phone first. And if you want proof Cadillac has not gone soft, climb the ladder to the CT5V Blackwing, which still pairs a 6.2-liter supercharged V8 making 668 horsepower with a genuine 6-speed manual transmission and a proper clutch pedal, a combination almost nobody else in the entire luxury sedan world still builds. Number 6 is a bittersweet one, and we owe you the full, honest story here. For years, the Lexus IS 500F Sport Performance stood alone as the last compact luxury sedan on the planet with a naturally aspirated V8, a genuine 5.0-liter engine making 472 horsepower and 395 pound-feet of torque, paired with an 8-speed automatic sending power to the rear wheels only, no turbochargers, no hybrid battery, no all-wheel drive safety net. Just a screaming, naturally aspirated 8-cylinder pulling hard past 7,000 revs, good for Lexus's own claimed 4.4-second sprint to 60.25 mile in the high 12-second range at over 110 miles an hour. Numbers independent testers have verified themselves. And here is the twist that stings a little. For the 2026 model year, Lexus killed it. The IS lineup now tops out with a 3.5-liter V6 making 311 horsepower, and the V8 has been deleted from the order sheet completely. But here's why it still earns its spot on this list. Dealers across the country still have brand new, unregistered 2025 IS 500F Sport Performance units sitting on their lots right now, in the middle of 2026, selling as new cars for somewhere around $68,000 depending on where you shop. If you want the last new naturally aspirated V8 compact sedan money can buy, the clock is actively running out, and once that leftover inventory sells through, it is gone from the new car market forever. At number 5, we go back to where the whole affordable performance sedan obsession in America actually started, the Subaru WRX. The nameplate literally stands for World Rally Experimental, and the 2026 lineup brings back a proper base model starting at just $32,495, a price that, adjusted for inflation, lands almost exactly where the original 2002 WRX started when it first landed on American shores. But the trim serious drivers actually want is the TS, priced at $44,995, running the same 2.4-liter turbocharged Boxer 4 making 271 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, sent through Subaru's legendary symmetrical all-wheel drive system and, critically, a standard 6-speed manual transmission. Because on every WRX trim except the top-spec GT, Subaru still refuses to force you into an automatic. STI-tuned adjustable dampers, gold-finished 6-piston Brembo brakes up front, and Recaro performance seats round out a car that still feels like a rally special built for public roads, exactly the way it has since 2002. And Subaru is not exactly playing it safe on price either. That base $32,495 sticker undercuts a Hyundai Elantra N, a Toyota GR Corolla, and a Volkswagen Golf GTI, while still handing you standard all-wheel drive that none of those front-driven hot hatches can match. Number 4 brings us to a genuine design throwback, the 2026 Nissan Z Nismo. The whole shape of this car is a love letter to the original 1960s and 70s Fairlady Z and 240Z, right down to the round gauge pods and the long hood, short deck proportions. Under that retro sheet metal sits a 3.0-liter twin-turbo V6 making 420 horsepower and 384 pound-feet of torque, riding on brakes borrowed straight from Nissan's own GTR. Now, we have to be straight with you here. For the 2026 model year, the Nismo specifically only comes paired with a 9-speed automatic. Nissan is saving the long-awaited manual Nismo for the following model year. But step down to the Z Sport or Z Performance trim, starting at $42,970, and you get 400 horsepower with a standard 6-speed manual transmission and a genuine performance clutch, at absolutely no extra charge over the automatic. In a market where 3-pedal cars are practically an endangered species, Nissan is still handing you a clutch pedal for free. The Nismo itself tops out at $65,750, and Nissan has already confirmed a manual gearbox is coming to that exact trim for the following model year, complete with a short throw shifter and an upgraded clutch, which tells you everything about which direction this company thinks the market is actually moving. Sliding into number 3, things get a little more complicated, in the best possible way. The 2026 Chevrolet Corvette E-Ray is technically a hybrid, and it is technically all-wheel drive, two things that should probably disqualify it from a list like this one. But stick with us. The engine actually doing the heavy lifting is a 6.2-liter LT2 V8, naturally aspirated, no turbochargers, no superchargers, making 495 horsepower entirely on its own, using a pushrod valve train architecture that traces its lineage straight back to the original small-block Chevrolet V8 from 1955. A front-mounted electric motor adds 160 horsepower purely for traction, bringing the combined total to 655 horsepower and 595 pound-feet of torque, all routed through a genuine 8-speed dual-clutch transmission that delivers real, discrete gear changes you can actually feel, not the rubbery, gearless sensation of a continuously variable transmission. That combination launches the E-Ray to 60 in about 2.5 seconds, quicker than most 6-figure European hybrids, while carbon ceramic brakes and magnetic ride control come standard rather than buried in an options list. Starting at $108,600, the E-Ray proves you can bolt modern hybrid technology onto a car without erasing the soul of a naturally aspirated American V8 sitting right behind your head. At number 2, we arrive at the purest car on this entire list, the 2026 Mazda MX-5 Miata. This car has not fundamentally changed its philosophy since it first launched all the way back in 1989, and the current generation, which debuted for the 2016 model year, still follows the exact same formula, a lightweight, front-engine, rear-wheel drive 2-seat roadster powered by a naturally aspirated 2.0-liter 4-cylinder making 181 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque. A 6-speed manual transmission is standard on every single trim, and on the sport and club models, it is the only option available. Mazda will not even sell you an automatic on those two trims. Starting at $31,665, the Miata remains one of the most affordable new sports cars sold in America, and it pulls that off without turbochargers, without a hybrid battery, and without a touchscreen trying to run the show from the center console. That price actually undercuts its closest rival, the Toyota GR86, and comes in thousands below a Subaru BRZ, all while offering a retractable hardtop RF version for buyers who want a little more weather protection without losing the manual gearbox. By near universal agreement among people who genuinely love driving, this is the last truly pure, analog sports car still in production anywhere on Earth. Which brings us to number 1, and honestly, this might be the single most rebellious car built in America this entire decade. Back in 2024, Dodge launched the fully electric Charger Daytona and effectively told the world that gasoline muscle cars were finished, that the future of the Charger nameplate was silent and electric, full stop. Enthusiasts revolted. Sales of the electric Daytona slumped hard. And so, for the 2026 model year, in one of the more dramatic public reversals in recent automotive history, Dodge brought gasoline power back. The 2026 Dodge Charger 6-pack drops a 3.0-liter twin-turbo inline-6, codenamed Hurricane, under the hood, the same engine family used in the Ram 1500 pickup and the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, but retuned here with a new intake, a valved exhaust, and larger turbochargers specifically for muscle car duty. It is offered in two distinct states of tune. The RT gets the standard output version, 420 horsepower and 468 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds, starting at $49,995. The Scat Pack gets the high-output version, 550 horsepower and 531 pound-feet of torque, a top speed of 177 miles an hour, and a 0 to 60 time under 4 seconds flat, starting at $54,995. Every single gas-powered 6-pack Charger comes standard with all-wheel drive, but flip it into rear-wheel drive mode, and it instantly becomes a genuine, old-school, tire-shredding muscle car on demand. It is also roughly 1,000 pounds lighter than its electric Daytona sibling. Weight you can feel the instant you turn into a corner. And here is the detail that should silence anyone who thinks internal combustion is already dead on arrival. In January of 2026, a jury of 50 professional automotive journalists from the United States and Canada crowned the Dodge Charger the official North American car of the year, beating out finalists like the Honda Prelude and the Nissan Sentra, during the Charger nameplate's own 60th anniversary year. A gasoline-burning, driver-focused muscle car, built the very same year regulators overseas started forcing touchscreens back out of dashboards, just won the single most respected award in the entire American auto industry. If that does not prove the good old days are not actually dead yet, nothing will. 8 brand new cars, sold right now, in 2026, that still trust a driver's hands more than a piece of glass. So here is our question for you down in the comments. Which one of these would actually replace what is parked in your driveway tonight, and did we miss an old-school holdout that deserves a spot on this list? Let us know down below. Hit that subscribe button if you have not already, and we will see you in the next one.